seconds to make you 1% better. 14 minutes and 24 seconds is 1% of a 24-hour day. That's all it takes to get a little better. So that's all I really need, but I might go over that a little bit. Okay. So this session right here, the very first session, it's all about questions and answers. Right? I know I got a lot of questions for you guys. Okay. I would imagine and I would think that you have some questions for me. Right? I'm open to those questions, but I can also take a guess at some of the questions that you might have. Okay. So the first one, the most important one, is who. Right? Who the hell am I? Right? Who are you? Okay. Because I can understand and I can imagine if I put myself in your shoes. You got your coach telling you, hey, you got to have some some guy coaching baseball. What's this about? All right. If I'm going to get through to you guys, I'm going to help you at all, and that's ultimately why I'm here. We got to form a relationship, right? You got to know who I am, and I got to know who you are. So that's how it's going to start. Right? Who am I? I'm Coach Heflin. I'm sure all you guys have seen me at some point. All right, around the campus, you've heard things, you know things, and at most, you know that I coach baseball. Okay, at best, you know that I'm now also the mental performance coach for all Team Diamond Athletics. Okay, it's the first year doing that. You maybe see me with the tennis team in the years past. I've worked with soccer a little bit. Who else have I worked with? I'll even work with the IB students, Mr. Webster's IB students at one point. But then this year, I've been working with volleyball a lot. Football, we come every Friday, work with them. Some of the individual athletes, the football team as well, girls golf, me. Okay. And so, with that being said, I'm also completing my master's degree in mental performance. All right. At the end of this year, I'll be officially certified as a mental performance consultant. Okay. In sports psychology. All right. So that's the quickest rundown I can give about who I am. We can talk more about myself if you have no questions. Who are you? Right? Who are you? That's my question for you. We're going to write in mental performance. You got an index card today, you got a pen, okay? But get used to it and start liking it, all right? Because there's something in cognitive psychology, it's called the generation effect. All right? The generation effect says that basically we learn and remember better when we produce, right? If I just stand up here and talk to you, that's one thing, and that's one level of learning. But for you to really understand and comprehend, it needs to come from you, right? So you're going to produce it via writing. Right? Typing works as well. Keyboards are good. Our phones are all right. But a pen and paper is still best. The old school method. Why? Why do you think that is? If you're trying to learn and comprehend and digest something, why do you think writing is still better than typing?
Because you remember it easier. You're actually doing it.
Right. It's a little longer, it's a little more tedious, and then, so therefore it requires a little more thinking. It's more of a process, right? And you're actually producing something a little bit more when you have a pen in your hand or a pencil in your hand versus pressing a button, okay? So we're going back to the basics with that, all right? And throughout this journey, throughout the season together, we're going to journal a lot, all right? You're going to write and reflect a lot, okay? I know, get weird looks, trust me. It's going to happen, okay? And you're going to see it improve your game because it's worked for every team I've ever worked with. It's worked for every athlete I've ever worked with, okay? So let's start with this right there. I got it on the board. On the index card, give me your full name. What year are you? What class? What position do you play? Positions? How many years have you been playing this sport that you love called basketball? What's one thing I should know about this basketball team? If I got JV guys in here, you can say JV, you can see the program as a whole. What's one thing I should know about this basketball team? As I get to know you guys individually and the group as a whole. Dogs. Okay. What does that mean? Bryce, can you define that? Can you explain more what it means to be a dog?
Dogs is one of the everyday we all about it.
Every day giving you all no matter what the circumstances is. That's good. That's good. There's also something else I'm going to throw at you. It's called competitive stamina. All right, anybody know who Tony Elliott is?
That's
Who is he?
The football coach for Virginia.
Football coach for Virginia. All right, having a pretty good year in the ACC. Know anything else about him? Where's he from?
You went here.
Yeah, he's from James Island. All right, wide receiver James Island. He said at a press conference earlier this year after a game, I think it was against one of those kind of slouch teams, you know, like a SCS team, whatever, a snoozer. He talked about competitive stamina. And he said competitive stamina is competing to a standard regardless of circumstance. Everything that I've worked with here at James Island, we all have some of the same problems, right? And that's region play. Right? A lot of teams in our region, in James Island, a lot of sports aren't very good, all right? It doesn't really matter who you are, where you're from. You're going to play teams on your schedule that's just not very good, right? Everyone can get up for that big game, okay? Everyone can get up and play in Ridgeview, right? But can you bring that dog mentality consistently to everybody you play? Take it even further, but before we get even too far ahead of ourselves, we're in preseason, right? It's all practice day in and day out, essentially, with a few scrimmages here and there. Do you have the dog mentality to practice before so that you can games, right? That's good to know. That's good to hear. That's something that I've heard about this team. And I've been a fly on the wall, if you guys haven't noticed the last couple of practices, and I've been watching a little bit. And that's one of the biggest reasons I'm excited working with you guys. I've heard a lot of good things. A lot of good things are being said about you. And my goal, my hope, is to be just the 1% difference for you. Let me say that now, by the way. I'm not going to make you guys 75, 85, 90% better. Y'all got a good thing going already, right? My goal is to make you 1% better. I kind of alluded to that at the very beginning of this talk, but that's my goal, is to make you 1% better. I want to help you close the gap between where you're at and where you want to be. You're good. You want to be great. I want to be that one little 1%, right? You guys can be just fine without me most of this year. But when you get down right to the top of the mountaintop, right, like you were last year, Final Four, cream of the crop, right? How slim were the margins? I know the score wasn't great against Ridgeview, right? But do you feel like you're that far away? No, I don't think so either, right? The margins, tiny, right? And that's mental performance. Mental performance could be the difference, right? It could come down to the last possession. Everything I've said and everything we've done together all year has been basically, it's kind of helped me. Until that last possession, that last play, that last moment, all of a sudden, something that I gave to you, something that we worked on together and helped you maximize your season doing that part. Okay? Something else. Something else about this team. What should I know? Compete against each other? Yeah, I get that vibe.
we gotta work on that communication.
Work on what? Communication. It's a big one. That's a big one in any sport, right? But you know, just again being a fly on the wall practice the other day, I heard Coach really harping on that, right? And we're going to talk about that too. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I'm really excited to work with y'all in basketball in particular, because the environments you play in, the speed at which you play in, and there's so many little mental elements of your sport that I don't even think you realize that communication is a big one, right? It's a part of it. It's complete chaos you have to control all at the same time. Alright, playing 1,000 miles per hour, but in your mind, it's gonna be slow. Right? Anything else I should know about this team?
It's really raw. We're really raw. We got a lot of talent, but it's not
That should be exciting, right? It is the season. It's November, right?
It's not a lot of adversity within each other.
Okay, so you're facing adversity within each other, individuals, all that.
But it still pulls us together.
And it pulls you together, right? Is it an adversity as a group or an individual have their own bit of adversity as a group?
Definitely.
All right. And that's the fun part about what we're doing here. So look, I've worked with, I guess at the high school level, every sport is essentially basically a team sport, but then there's sports like golf and tennis that really is an individual sort of thing, right? That's the special thing about what you guys get to do in basketball. It's all a bunch of individuals, right? And it's all gonna come down to you when you've got the ball in your hand and you're trying to play defense and you really want to shoot a free throw. And it requires every single individual, right? Okay. All right. So what is mental performance? That's the next question. What? I want you to answer that. All right. Do I expect to have a perfect right or wrong answer? No. I want to know. I want to see. I want to hear what you think mental performance is in your mind. Answer that question in a statement. Okay? So that means a complete sentence. So that means mental performance is. What do you think? When you heard it for the first time, when you heard for the first time, Coach, that you were going to do this, what ran through your mind? That's all I want. Any volunteers? Working on composure regardless of the situation. Okay. How you reacting to chaos and adversity? Compose yourself. Words you succeed.
I did like having the mental capacity and readiness to perform at your greatest ability.
Yeah. All pretty good answers, guys. And the one right there, Josh, right? Yeah. Josh added emotions. Okay, that's a big one. A really big one in all sports. But this one in particular, right? Again, this is one of the more emotional sports. They're all high energy sports. You know, this place is packed out and loud. Again, the speed at which you move at and you need to move at to yourself physically, it naturally kicks emotions into another gear, right? You harness emotion and play with just the right amount of emotion at the right time and use it properly. That's definitely a fun aspect of mental performance. Let me ask you this. You can write this down to what percentage of basketball is mental? So the statement would say mental performance is blank. I'm sorry, basketball is blank percent mental. Would you say between physical and mental, what percentage of basketball is mental? So you can say basketball is blank percent mental. What percentage of basketball is mental? What do you think?
23%.
23%.
80.
80. 80. 60.
How much of it is mental?
What percentage of basketball?
Like what?
Everything.
20?
That's not
How much you play?
yeah, I said 23.
Y'all are split, that's right.
80. So what? 30. All right, so here we go. All right, listen. We're in our range.
Some people have to. I don't think people are skill, bro. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You gotta think about it, dude. Like, mentally, physically, some people just hold that. Hard could barely play, but his mental is
Is there an answer?
Yes, there is. I heard 90%.
You gave me the answers. A variety of answers. Can you scientifically study and research and say, hey, explicitly, to succeed at this sport of basketball, it's 80% mental? You can't prove that, right? It varies. It depends, okay? But I think maybe the lowest I got was like maybe 17. Did anybody say anything lower than 17?
Someone said 16 back here.
16, 17, we're in the 16, right? I got 90, that was the highest. The average was 80-ish to 75. Most of you said something above 50. So let me ask you this. Let's just say if, I'll start with the lowest. Let's just say if you're telling me that basketball is 17% mental, are you spending 17% of your time on mental performance in the mental game? So if the majority said 50 or more, most of you said like 70, 80, are you spending 70 to 80% of your time on mental performance?
Say for instance, if you're in a game and you're like mentally not there, that can mess up your performance. So if you're not mentally there, it's gonna mess up your
Exactly. So that's why I'm here, right? And you guys got a really good coaching staff, by the way. Okay. And I know that they're already, whether they realize it, if you got good coaches, okay, then they're talking mental game, whether they realize it or not, right? But they got a lot to focus on besides just the mental aspect, right? That's all I focus on, okay? Because that is the crazy part about all of this, is think about the time you spend working. Think about the time you spend working on your speed, your strength, and then right here on this court or that court, tactics, shooting, whatever, passing, defense, all of the amount of time you spend on that stuff. But if this thing right here doesn't show up that day, it wipes it all away, just like that. Just like that. All the time you spent, all the work you put in is gone because the thing between your ears is let it down. Right? And that's why I'm here. My goal is to help you get out of your way. Right? You can do that, now we're maximizing. Okay? Let me ask you this, how often do you work on reflecting? How often do you work on noticing your breath? How often do you work on noticing your thoughts? How often do you notice the conversations you're having with yourself and the things you say to yourself? How often do you sit around and visualize? How often do you pay attention to your habits and your routines? Have you ever written it down and said, this is what I do every single day before a game, before practice? These are my routines, these are my rituals. How often have you even thought about your process? If I ask you, what's your process? Do you have an answer? Let alone write it down, draw it out. That's mental performance. That's what mental performance is. Okay? Whatever percentage you just said about this game being mental, all right, that's the part that I'm going to help you through. Okay? Mental performance is developing the mental skills, the attitudes, the perspective, that's a big one, and the processes to optimize your physical performance, optimize your growth. That's why I'm here. It's about maximizing. I'm trying to help you maximize what you've got this season and beyond. Okay? And there's a little gap in everybody in their mental game, whether they realize it or not. I'm gonna help you fill in that gap a little bit. Let's see if we can have a whole lot of success this year on that program. Okay? Alright, so with that, the bell's about to ring in 2 minutes. Let me get those note cards.